Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. Good afternoon, good evening from whatever part of the world that you're in. And today, I just want to speak objectively on the Landwey situation. The Landwey, recently they've been in the news for some bad press. Customers have come out to say that for years they've not had their properties being delivered, mostly delivery issues and repayment issues. And before I start, I want to say something. A lot of my colleagues, when they come on here on YouTube and they want to, do videos, they'll say, I'm not calling any name or I'm not saying anybody's name. I don't want trouble or I don't want this and that. And instead of helping the ecosystem, this actually makes things harder because we are not keeping people accountable, number one. And number two, we are forgetting. I think people gloss over the fact that for most people that are investing in real estate, it's their life savings. So in as much as, like I said, it's going to be objective, I'm going to understand the fact that it's not easy running businesses in Nigeria. My tailor just called me 2 weeks, last week, he told me, I paid him almost 80% to 90% upfront of some senators I wanted him to do for me. He told me, this fuel matter, hey, boss, I will not even see any profit. He's asking me to add a bit more. And that's just on a macroeconomic, such a, even mini level, of such level of economics, economic scale. And then you're talking about building a house that sometimes takes 6 months, 12 months. Obviously, the variables are going to change, but then again, you have to look at it from the other person's perspective, where somebody that has spent all his life and he's took his retirement savings or her retirement savings to put in an off-plan property, and when they want to move in, you're telling them stories, you're telling them come tomorrow, you're telling them, and it's over 2-3 years. So we need to look at everybody's side. And I want to talk about it today. And this is, I don't know how long this is going to be. Just stay with me. I'm going to walk through, first of all, the history of Landwey as much as I know. And I'm going to look at both sides. I'm going to weigh the pros and the cons, and what can be better. But before I start, I'll say this. If you have the money, just buy outrightly a finished house in Lagos, But if you don't have the money, what you should do with real estate developers for houses is ask them that you pay per milestone, And so if you put in an initial deposit, 30%, so the next time I'm paying, my unit should have probably gotten to maybe lintel level, or you've done the foundation, you've gotten here, Just a general advice. Obviously, you don't have to take this, and also depending on how much you trust the company. So, to put into perspective this video, Landwey was on the news recently. There were a couple of blog articles. People sent it to me, which is very funny. People sent it to me, oh, have you seen this article? Is it true? What do you think about this article? And it was a very long article. And I read that article. Long and short in that article, journalists had a lot of people that had subscribed to Landwey's products. Urban Prime, that was subscribed to the Milton at Awoyaya. And the long and short of their grounds is that Landwey had many unfinished projects, number one. And number two, Landwey was not delivering and they were breaking their contract. Landwey was very, very stringent on, okay, if you don't pay when it's due, we're going to refund you or we're going to charge you. But Landwey was now breaking that contract, and that they were not delivering on time, and they were still expecting customers to either pay more to, access maybe the same plot. Somebody said in Westwood he was asked to pay more to accept a plot. People that, correspondence issues there and the likes. But, some people also accuse them of the fact that even for landed properties, they were now asking them to either If you ask for a refund, they were going to ask you to charge you, even though they were at fault, they're going to charge you 30, 40%. And, first and foremost, contrary to many popular beliefs, I have happened not to have sold anything for Landwey, which is crazy if you look at it, because a lot of people contact me and talk about Landwey. But for some reason, I've had a lot of people reach out to me that want to buy for, Landwey property, but for some reason, I've just never closed Landwey. But I've known the company for a long while. I think I knew them when they were one or two. Landwey came into the scene and they started doing pretty gate houses. It was P1 that was majority of the market leader then. Landwey came, they were doing premium gate houses, pretty gate houses. They were coming with aerial photography and videography. Landwey also came with huge incentive for their realtors. I think they went up to over 20%. So a lot of people wanted to sell for them. And, this is as much as I can remember, of course. There was a particular point in time that Landwey didn't want to work with brokers again. They wanted real estate realtors to, work with them directly, and so they wanted to cut off indirect commission, because how it works is that we have brokers and realtors work under brokers. So the broker gets their commission, then your upline gets a commission, and then you that sell get the commission. So there are basically three parties involved when a realtor sells for a developer. So Landwey wanted to cut off all of those people. They had been trying it over the years. Landwey wanted to cut off all of those people. So what Landwey said is that you should register under them and be a realtor to them. And so everything is direct. A lot of people, there were lots of pushback to that, and they created Alvin Gray. So the reason why I'm giving this context is that Landwey had always wanted to do things differently. They've always wanted to be, like from their marketing, from their designs, from the way they've been doing things, they've always wanted to do things differently. And I personally feel like that innovation may have been part of the undoing in this case, because as much as there's a lot of high-handedness in the real estate industry, every now and again, people come to my channel and tell me, somebody was telling me recently, call out Landwey, call out. First of all, let me tell you guys, and I've retired from the calling out ministry. I've retired from calling out ministries because, one thing about the calling out is that, first of all, the people that are telling you, call out this person, call out that person, those are not the people that are even going to buy from you. Let me be honest about it. Because when people see you as too controversial, they don't want to buy from you. Those guys, let me tell you a secret, those guys that are giving you, oh, this is the truth about this, the truth about this, the truth about this, people will just be hailing you, and it's online that it stops. When they serve you later, I have a couple of them that have threatened, oh, we're going to serve you. This same Landwey that we're even talking about, I once ran an ad talking about sponsorship, and it was even in a positive light. Somebody actually messaged me on Instagram, even tried to call me and said, we are the legal counsel of Wale of Landwey, and this is libel, this is this, this is this. I told them that everything I said was in the public domain. And he said, yes, that does not mean it's right. Honestly, that ad had run its course and I was not interested in having any conversation. But the truth of the matter is that, I intentionally positioned myself not to be that guy. I don't just want to be known for calling out real estate companies because, first of all, like I said, there are just some extenuating economical circumstances where there are issues. And, some of these people also, they still find their way around with the government. The particular real estate company that they try to use somebody to blackmail me and also try to pay me off, they eventually the land in contention that I was talking about, they eventually transferred their subscribers to another one with a better title. So where's my gain? What's my gain from calling out real estate developers, putting my life in danger and what have you? That's one. And number two, the reason why I've stopped that is that let me concentrate on the ones that are doing good, telling you and giving you home, because that doesn't get me paid. Calling people out and, always being, it doesn't get me paid, honestly. But I do admit that it also positions me to a place of authority where people are saying, okay, should I make this investment? Should I make that investment? And what have you? But let's go back to Landwey. So, they've wanted to do things differently. And I guess a reason for wanting to do things differently now meant that Landwey started dabbling in so many estates, so many estates. At a particular point in time, they opened one in mainland. They opened Terra Gardens. They opened District 1, District 2, Future Cities. They opened so many estates. So I think that's one thing that they did that was not, really wise. And Wale came and said, oh, the funding for all of the projects are different, this one, that one. And also he said COVID. And he also said inflation. Yeah, global inflation. And, you know, I feel like as much as you should be sympathetic, there's no excuse for failure. Because look at Ned Okonkwo of Victoria Crest Homes. They finished delivering and have finished delivering all of the estates that they have done. And people are paying, if people are paying outright, if people are paying everything they need to pay, you should factor every single probability. And these people you're buying this implement and you're buying these things in bulk. Obviously, we don't know their balance sheet, but like I say, always put yourself in the shoes of the customer. If the customer is telling you, if as a customer paying outright, and then you're telling me stories, I'm not interested in stories. One man even said that he had paid in an initial deposit and completely finished paying, and 2 years after he paid, when he had expected to move back to Nigeria, he was not ready. He had to shell out another amount of money to buy another apartment. I don't even know if he wanted to rent. So, in as much as we can look at the issues and your so-called setbacks, let's also ask ourselves this truth. If you were the one in those shoes, what would you have done? The journalists accuse them of ghosting clients, and I don't even think it's a Landwey thing. I don't think it's just the fact that real estate developers are spoiled. Real estate developers are spoiled in Nigeria because, first of all, before I buy land, before I buy land, you're supposed to have sent me, where I'm getting in like a layout of every single thing. I need to know where I'm buying, what is going to be, where I'm buying, all those things. But people don't send money to real estate developer, and it's after the fact that they're now saying, okay, this is my client. You're trying to trace the client. So money is coming to the developer every day, and people don't even get to look at their contract before they even make payment. People just make payment without even looking at. So these are all of the issues, and if you have a way around the law, or if you have very experienced lawyers, they can actually take advantage of clients. So that's another thing that I feel like has come into play. And while he vocally supported the Lagos governor, that's something that people have against him. I'm not a fan of Wale's politics, even though he has made that clear. I'm not a fan of his politics. But, if you didn't support somebody that was very pro-business, I believe that your politics also says a lot about your moral compass. Now, I'm not here to, talk about any particular candidate, but I believe that your politics says a lot about your moral compass. And if you're somebody that has supported somebody with as much certain type of baggage, then it gives me an idea of what you will be capable of or not capable of. And so, it didn't really come as a shock to me, some of those things I was hearing, because obviously here's where your loyalty lies. But, this is just my rumination. These are just my musings. These are just the things I'm thinking about, because this is my industry. And, if you want to send your people, send your people. I can talk about it. So, I don't think there's anything libelous in this video. So thank you so very much for watching. What do you think about the whole Landwey situation? My heart goes out to people. I would always be biased against the customer. And, another thing that I want to say is that in all of this, my joy is that people say that they are now talking more. I mean, they are engaging in PR. They are bringing out data. This is what we're delivering. Somebody said that there was a Zoom meeting with a couple of those people that went to the journalists, and then some of them stopped. That has happened to me, by the way, before. Some of them actually stopped contacting the journalist after they had a private meeting. Even if you settle it behind doors or whatever you do, let people actually get their houses, let people get refunds, let people, let people actually get their land, let people get their location. That's what we want at the end of the day, so that the customer wins at the end of the day. I wish Landwey the best, I wish their clients the best, and kindly like, kindly share, kindly subscribe. And this is Ownahome.ng TV show. I'm Uche Philip Emodi. Contact me for your property needs, and I'll see you in the very next video. Bye-bye.